Hi, this is Aliou Barry, and I'm talking here with Mary Patterson in Fishers, Indiana. Mary, I know yesterday we talked about a long-term care policy that your parents had, and can you a little bit tell us about that, and also introduce yourself, what you did for a living for the last 20-something years?
Well, I've been a librarian for the last 40 years. My parents had purchased long-term health care policy back in the mid 1970s, and they were paying about $700 a month,
Okay.
premiums on this. And when my mother finally had to go to a nursing home in 2000, I found that I wanted to keep her in the home if I could, but none of the insurance would pay for that. So the only way it would pay is if I put her in an actual healthcare facility, residential type facility. So she was put in a facility. The long-term policy paid for half of the room and board.
Which was how much total a month?
The room and board was over $6,000 a month. And that's just for room and board. That didn't count medicines or medications or anything like that.
Wow.
We paid the other half then. So it paid probably $3,000, a little more.
Additional to the 6,000 already being paid.
No, the insurance policy paid for half.
Okay.
A little over $3,000. We had to pay the other $3,000, and then we also had to pay for all the medications and things like that.
Wow.
So it after 3 years, though, it maxed out. The policy maxed out, so we had to take over all of it at that point. Medicare doesn't pay anything towards long-term care facilities at all, so it was all on my dad and I to take care of. Now, when my mom and dad went in, they had like $200,000 in savings. They had their home, which was worth a substantial amount of money, and they had their pensions and everything, so they were comfortably off.
Right.
But within 4 years of going into that nursing home, we'd used up all the savings. We had to sell the property. Even if my dad had been living there, he couldn't have stayed. We would still have had to sold it in order to pay for the nursing home.
How much you said the value of that property when you sold approximately?
Well, it was around $150,000. And then we had to auction on. We auctioned off all the furniture and the stuff inside it.
Right.
And within a year, that was used up. And then we were just about ready for Mom to have to go on Medicaid.
Wow.
When my dad died. Well, that got us some insurance money, and all that insurance money had to go to pay.
The life insurance was on your dad?
On my dad. Paid for his funeral, and the rest of it we had to pay. I used to pay for Mom's care in the nursing home.
And you know this because you literally was the one writing.
I was the one doing it. I was an only
check.
child, so it was all on me to do. When that money ran out, it was in 2006. Mom had been in there for 6 years, and there was nothing left. To qualify for Medicaid, you can only have $1,500 worth of assets, and that includes your pensions, any pension you're getting, any property, anything like that, and bank accounts.
Sure.
When she finally had gotten to that point, I applied for her to have Medicaid to pay for her care.
Okay.
And once I applied for Medicaid, she was taken out of the room she was in, which at that point up until then, she'd had her own. She had her chair, she had her television, she had a few of her own personal things. All that had to go.
A little bit more comfortable setting for her to live.
It was a nice, comfortable setting. But once she was no longer a private pay patient, then she had to go into a different wing of the nursing home, and this one was just a small drab room that she shared with. She still had a roommate, but they shared a dresser. There was no room for any extra personal things. I had to take away Mom's lounge chair, all the personal pictures. There was no place to put family photos, anything like that. There was barely enough room in there for the 2 beds and for Mom's wheelchair.
Wow. And all this, not to cut you off, sorry about that, out of them paying and $700 for over mostly about 20 years under long-term care.
Yeah, and paid for 3, half of 3.
Wow.
So it was hardly worth it.
That's
know?
exactly right. And how long did she stay in there
She
before
was
she
in there
passed?
7 years, and
On the second wing,
on the second wing,
when they moved
she
it.
was in there. She was only lasted there 3 months. She was so disheartened and depressed when we had to move her. She was 91 years old, and she felt. She grew up during the Depression, and she remembered when elderly people, when they couldn't work anymore, they ended up at the county farm.
That's right.
Based on welfare,
Right,
you know, and she felt like she had worked all her life. She'd been taught school all her life, you know, until she retired. They'd lived frugally, saved, had a good savings. They had their mortgage had always been paid off, and she felt like now she was ending her life, that she'd hoped all of that hard work and frugality was going to take care of her in her retirement.
That's right. That's right.
She felt like she was dying penniless and on welfare.
Wow.
And so she died 3 months after she had to go on Medicaid.
That's why pretty much meeting with you, because this is what we call our servicing. We call the the private clients services, the PCS file that we've been started doing. And do you think, for some people, because I personally believe with the living benefits of the policy we just set up for you, it could have done a lot more savings for them if those was available then. Do you think this probably more people actually need to have this type of things available? They can use it when they need it, and they don't have to, to lose their cash when they don't when they don't have to. Do you think this might be helpful to other people as well?
I would think so.
Okay.
Because the way it was when she had her insurance, it really was of no benefit at all, really.
Sure. Okay. Because it was supposed to pay when they needed it, and it was not there for them, and for you personally, because you didn't want to have to witness all this. Yeah. So, and you told me the story yesterday. It was so touching to me that I had to call you actually to write it for me, and to thank you very much for writing, and also to being here in front of the camera and expressing these things out. So my hope really is going to help a lot of other people. Any parting thought that you have really for somebody else, to encourage them if they're going through what you went through?
I think it's just this, that I think most people, unless they have had parents or someone that they have had to see go through the health care and things when they get to be older, they don't realize the cost that's involved with the medical care itself, with medications, things like this, and the cost of a nursing home is so much. A family can't do it.
True.
That nursing home costs twice what I even earned in a month. There's no way I could have paid for it.
That's right.
And I think older people, they just expect, well, my kids will take care of me. Kids may be good kids and want to, but maybe they can't. It's a big order.
And besides, they also do have some other obligation. They have families, and beside that, so it's not an easy task. It's not.
I still had a teenage daughter at home. I couldn't put all my. I would love to have been able to take complete care of mom and dad, but it just isn't realistic.
Mary, again, thank you very much for your time, and definitely for sharing this with us. It's Mary Patterson, and I'm Aliou Barry with Ashura Group. Thank you.